Good. Yep. All right. Let's see what we got here. Gotta go get my timer right here. Gotta get the timer here. Time it for 10 minutes. I'm gonna talk for 10 minutes. I'm not gonna do any painting because that requires a little bit more thought and concentration. I just feel kind of awkward. I'm actually standing up on a pedestal right here. So, good morning, true art believers. I am Matt Pierson, and this is Painting with Pierson. Again, still working on the same piece. I'm slowly grinding it out, man. Just working on it. Feel like I'm in a Destiny raid, you know? Before they did all those updates, and you're trying to make your character, was it level 32, or like get all the good loot, and you end up getting like just some gun that you already have. And like, oh man, or a piece of armor, like, oh, this piece of armor doesn't even level me up. So I'm working on this piece, and so now I am working on the cherries here and slowly building them up. So what I did here is I kind of cheated. I was like, I just want to do the stems because I could do the stems real quick. Actually, I couldn't because it like every stem took like 90 minutes or more. You know, so I'm like 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. You're like, how does that take you so long? Well, I'm trying to get I'm trying to be quasi-realistic, and blending takes a while to kind of achieve that. And you know, I don't know why. It's astounding how long it takes to do something so mundane, so simple. So what I did with these cherries was I blocked them out into 3 tones after I did the stems, and even after I did the 2-tone like leaves. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna work on these leaves. I kind of like these leaves like this. I might work on this one, or I want this one to be realistic, so I'm gonna have to spend some time on that. Geez, I don't even know how long it's gonna take. It's gonna take forever, if the way that I'm going. But I started out with these cherries, and I just kind of, not high contrast, but I did 3 tones in a glaze, right? So I did like a alizarin crimson in a glaze, and I used like I don't know what color that is, but it's like an orangey red, and I used that in a glaze, and basically just to separate the tones a little bit. And then I did the highlights in a white glaze. Actually, it's more like, you don't notice, but it's actually it's more like a pink, a white, super white pink. And I'm using these as a base tone for the painting. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want to cover my bases, really, because if I don't mean by covering, I must, like, it's a double entendre. I like it. It has 2 meanings actually. Cover my bases, but also if I miss when I'm painting these and I'm working, generally when you paint, sometimes you miss areas, and you want to make sure that you don't miss those areas. But if you do, I'll have these back tones that kind of mitigate any like parts that I've kind of skimmed over or skipped over accidentally. So it acts as like a backup essentially. So I'm trying to do these cherries semi-realistic, you know, not photorealistic, but juxtaposed against these simple pattern shapes. If I do them semi-realistic, they're going to come off as looking real, and it's kind of like a play on eyes. Like the way their eyes are going to work, it's going to see these flat pop-like images, and it's going to see these realistic images, and our eyes are going to normalize those forms and kind of balance them out and try to make them more rational. So it makes these hyper-realistic, as opposed to really just, if you were to remove all these things, then they would look real, but they wouldn't look as real against these patterns. So, a few reasons why I'm painting semi-realistic. Realistic is I do not like painting realistic at all. It is, to me, a pain. It is so time consuming, not fun. have a deep appreciation for artists that can do it. Um, but also, I do it in a fashion that's really slow. Like as I said, uh, I have 3 layers of paint on these before I even like at least 2 layers. You have a base tone and then a 3 tone, and then I start adding the realistic tone. So there's a little bit of back work before I even start doing the tones. The reason why I do that is I just don't like the kind of paint by numbers type of thing where you have your underdrawing and then all of a sudden you're just filling it up with opaque paints. I like playing around with a little bit of transparency. That's a little bit of like the academic method, I guess. I don't really know. But I like playing around with opaque and transparent colors a little bit so that people that are viewing these pieces in life actually see some of that happening. And you really can't see it in the photos because it kind of, again, photographs can kind of flatten everything. So I don't like to paint realistic. It's super time consuming. Another thing is I'm not that good at it. I'm okay. Like I'm above average. And everyone's like, well, you're above average. Oh, man, your stuff looks great. No, I'm comparing myself to like these guys are just super good, like really good. And so I'm like, I'm above average, but I'm not that competent at it and confident to do it. So sometimes because I'm not confident, I kind of stay away from it. But if you're an artist, you definitely need to, they've done studies, you need to challenge yourself like 4% above your ability, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm always trying to challenge myself a little bit. Like this piece has been a challenge to me, and I can actually say it's probably been 100% above my ability, in the sense that it's been so above my level of patience that I've actually gained a new level of appreciation and a new level of patience that's come alongside of it. So like, if I were to start paintings now, I probably could do paintings for years. As before, I was like, if I went back 10 years ago, I would be like, a year? You're cray cray. You're out of your, you're bonkers, dude. If I told my younger self, because I was finding it hard to spend 2 weeks to a month on a painting. I'm like, just go as fast as I can. That's why I love doing a lot of thick impasto, thick paintings, because you can knock them out. They're good, they're okay, you know. They're good for what they were, and I can do those now if I'd like to. But they look like a certain way, right? They are what they are, and I can't do this like in 2 weeks. Maybe if I just did 70 hours straight, both weeks. Actually, it'd probably just be nonstop. Gotta take like some enhancements so I don't sleep ever and just work through it. But like even then I'm probably not going to get it to this level because I would probably be going faster than the paint is drying, and I'd be probably pushing the paint, and there wouldn't be the layerings that you get because I have to work on these paintings and I have to wait for the paint to dry and then go over it. I can't just go over it the next day because paint's still drying. And then you're having a material issue. And I learned some things with the material as well. Like I sanded this panel probably way too smooth, and I was having problems with my paint adhering to the surface. I had to do a little bit of conservation techniques. I had to do a little bit of research and figure out how I can make paint adhere to the painting again. And so I had to basically refabricate some areas, sand it all down, and score it again so that paint sticks. So I had to do a little bit of that, and that put me back weeks. Oh man, it's been a very learning experience. I know that when I work on another painting of this scale, of this magnitude, I'm going to design the whole thing from top to bottom. I don't want any, I don't want to have any more questions of what I'm going to do, because normally what I would do is I'd start out with, I want a figure and I want some shapes. And then whatever happens in between, great. But now it's becoming to the point where it's so elaborate that I can't just kind of wing it. I was so used to painting, doing these type of paintings with more thicker brush strokes and kind of just going with the flow. And I can do that on smaller paintings, and kind of, if I made a mistake, I can kind of wrap it up. Because I didn't have to do all these corrections. Here, if I make a mistake, I'm having to do a multitude of corrections, and it's causing me so many problems. So I've learned a lot with this piece, and I think that it's going to be a pivotal piece in my new work and my new paintings, because I'm just going to spend so much more time designing it prior, and then all that after that is just execution, right? Just basically paint what you design, as opposed to have a rough idea and then just kind of improvise as I go. I can't improvise. I don't have the time to improvise on a painting this size, you know. So I really think that it's going to help my work grow, and I really do believe that. And I'm really excited for new paintings. I have just so many ideas and not enough time to implement them, you know. And as soon as I have a breadth of time that I can work on them, which will be after October essentially, I will get cracking on them, and I'm excited for the future. Again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch me talk about my work, and hopefully it was informative, because that's what I'm trying to do now. Because I was doing this whole thing where I'm trying to paint and talk, and it's not working out. So I really do appreciate everyone taking time out of your day. I'm gonna drink some coffee a second. Mornings are such a drag. Taking the time out of your day, taking time out of your Saturday to view this. Hopefully it was informative. Hopefully you learned something. And if you have any tips on painting, on maybe prepping painting surfaces, and maybe if you want to impart some knowledge to me, I would be so appreciative of that, because I always like hearing different ways of preparing surfaces and how other people go about it. And then I also like hearing the ways that I know to be actually wrong, because I've heard some things that were quite funny, and it's just like, that's not, you shouldn't be doing that. No, that's bad. And then again, I'm fallible too, so there might be some things that I'm doing that's bad. But the thing is, I'm open to changing that. I don't think like my way is the best way. It's one way, it's a way. There are certainly worse ways, and there's certainly much better ways, and I'm always looking for improving my ways, improving myself in those forms. And if it's a better way, and it can be better as it's faster, or better as it's just better at improving the quality. So I'm always looking for like improving quality and speed, but I don't want to improve speed at the detriment of quality. So I'm always trying to level up those, right? I don't want to be faster and then have a poor quality product, because I can do that. There's a lot of people that do that, and I don't want that. I don't want to be like those off-brand products. I want to be as good as I can, and at the time. And that's what I always strive to be. All right. Again, thank you very much. If you want to see some of my work, You can check me out at www.mattpearsonart.com. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Matt Pierson Art. Pretty much all the same thing. So if you follow me on one of them, you probably get all the other stuff. Sometimes different. Sometimes on Twitter I'll post like some article I read, so you might get a little bit different content, but there's a lot of overlap. So don't feel free. Don't feel like you need to follow me on all of them unless you want to, which I'm greatly appreciative as well. Anyways, thank you for your time. I gotta go and start cracking on this. Really, I gotta do a 90-minute session before I have to go to my 8 jobs or my like 500 jobs that I have outside of painting. So thank you very much. Catch you later.